Hello everybody, welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I am Jeannie Nielsen, the card lady, and I am very excited to be here with you today. Mostly because I am not sitting in traffic on 93 right now, or on Spiro Drive or anything like that. It's been a day. So I'm so excited to be here. We are going to talk Regal Winter. Now Regal Winter is a designer paper. It's actually in the mini catalog right now. When I flip down, I'm going to show you a sampler of it. I have all of the pieces in 2x2 squares. These squares are beautiful, but they're not going to really show the true beauty of it until you see the cards, I think. But I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. I am going to see if maybe I can find myself so that I can try and keep up with, let's see if I can. I'm going to see if I can try and keep up with comments again. I did that last week and it was really fun. Thank you so much for joining me, either live or on replay. I hope that you love everything I'm doing as much as I love making it and sharing it with you. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to get to my page and see myself yet. So far I don't, but I know I will. Anyway, I'm going to flip down. I'm going to talk to you real quick. I went to a stamping and scrapbooking retreat this weekend. Had so much fun. I did a little bit of running around. I had to go back and forth for a craft fair at my church as well. But I managed. Didn't get nearly everything done that I wanted to, but I did manage. And now I'm here with you. So let's see what we can share. I don't see myself yet, so hopefully you see me. But crazy. Okay. Let's flip down. I'm going to flip up to flip down, and then you join me. Sorry I'm so late. The traffic really was horrendous, and I was supposed to get out at 2, and that didn't happen. So I was at least glad that I was able to join you at even a little bit. Okay, flipping down. This is my ceiling. Now we're going to flip down. There we go. There we go. So you see my computer a little bit. I'm still trying to find myself. I'm always trying to find myself. Doesn't that seem like the way? Anyway, okay, so this is the Regal Winter designer paper. If I don't find myself, that's okay. You know, I'm going to be okay because I'll respond to your comments later. I'm sure I will at some point be able to see myself. Okay, so there's 6 different pages, 2 of each. They're double-sided and they're beautiful. Some of these are more monochromatic, just a little bit of a pattern, but still monochromatic. And the others are very, very pretty floral. And they're supposed to be considered winter floral. So, yeah, I don't know where I am. Anyway, hopefully you guys can see me. Anyway, my favorite is probably this blue right here. But the cherry cobbler is very pretty as well. And I hope you're going to like it. Now, these cards are pretty simple. I did show a little bit of myself. I wonder if I wasn't on my page, would I see myself? You know what? I'm going to go, and then maybe I'll see my page. Okay, let me show you the first card. There I am. Okay, now hopefully I can keep up, okay? Okay, this is the first card. This is a Blackberry Bliss card. I love this card. So easy to do, and you could do this with absolutely any pattern. So this pattern, like I said, Blackberry Bliss, what I'm going to do is start with a card base, 5.5 by 8.5. I scored it at 4 1/4, the usual scoring pattern. So it's a regular, it's actually going to be landscape position, but I scored it 5.5 by 8.5 at 4 1/4. Then I have another piece of Blackberry Bliss, mostly because I need something for my designer paper to sit on so I can attach the ribbon behind it. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have 2 pieces of designer paper here. This one is 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches. This one is 1 inch by 5 1/4. So you see the blue on the one side. On the other side, it has the solid Blackberry Bliss. together, they, as you can probably guess, make 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to glue that first. That's the first thing we're going to do. Hopefully I have glue that works. Isn't that so pretty though? I hope you love it as much as I do. Let me get my sampler out of the way because I really don't want to get glue on that. But anytime somebody needs to know where a paper comes from, I can just pull out those sampler pages and tell you exactly what pattern it is. I have had a little bit of trouble with the Snowy Winter, Snowy Wonder paper, Snowy Scenes paper, and the Reindeer Fun. So, okay, so what I'm doing first is just going to glue this at the top of my cardstock mat. So just like that. Like I said, 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Then I'm going to take the second pattern, the 1 inch by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm going to glue that to the bottom. I really want to make sure that I'm hiding the seam, or not hiding the seam, but making it fit to the bottom. I'm going to cover this with ribbon. It doesn't really matter that there's a seam showing there because this is thick enough that it's going to go right around it. So this is, isn't this beautiful ribbon? Blackberry Bliss. This is Blackberry Bliss in gold. It is about, let's see, is it 1/2 inch? I would say it is. Yes, it's 1/2 inch. One side is more, well, actually, it's, to me, it seems like this side is not as gold as this side, but I could be full of baloney. Maybe they're both gold and it's been a long day. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just tie a simple knot around this. I'm going to make it tight enough. You know what? I don't want to waste that much ribbon. I love this ribbon, so we're going to be a little bit stingier with it. I am going to tie it in a knot. In order to make it a flat knot, what I'm going to do is kind of put my finger there and pull just like that. Well, I've made better knots than that, but that's essentially how I do it. Yeah, see, it seems to me that one side has a little bit more gold than the other, but like I said, maybe that's just my imagination. I'm going to put this over top of the seam. I don't want it just to the bottom, but I have to make sure that I'm going to cover my seam. Okay, I've got my scissors here to make my cut. And I'm going to angle my ends just like that. Ta-da! Okay, now what we're going to do, now that we've glued this on, we can glue this to our card base. So let's glue this to our card base. What you're going to notice is that I used several different stamp sets for my sentiments. And you know what? The reason I did that is to show you that there are so many stamp sets that work with just this basic card sketch or any card sketch. You have a label. Go to your stamps and find, you're looking for a birthday one, find a birthday one. Looking for sympathy, find a sympathy one. I'm not going to tell you what stamp set to use because there are so many different ones. I think that's going to work. I do want this a little bit closer to the top. That's what I like about the glue. I can usually reposition it a little bit. So, for any of you joining me, welcome. I'm making cards with the Regal Winter Designer paper. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment. I do believe, let me see, wishing I were there to give you a hug. Let's see. Let me show you the different stamp sets that I used. I used Something Fancy. There's so many sentiments in that, depending on the shape of your label. Wonderful Thoughts. Layering Leaves is a great stamp set for sentiments, and they're nice and large. This is a little bit smaller than what they are, but so many different ones. Thank you, thinking of you, best wishes, so many different ones. Textured Floral, I use this one quite a bit. So I first of all used it for the birthday blooms, but I also used it for some of the dies. It has some fun dies. These are the dies, so I like the leaves here. You could use those. I think I ended up using this leafy stem right there. Okay, Wishing I Were There to Give You a Hug is actually from the Regal Flora stamp set. So it does have some great sentiments. I didn't use all of them, but this one I did. So what I'm going to do is take my stamps and hopefully you know. You know what? I might have to find a different stamp because guess what? I don't think I have the stamps out. I had them with me in Maine and let's use a layering leaves. Let's use, instead of wishing I were there to give you a hug, let's use thank you so much. This is actually my thank you card class because it's coming on Thanksgiving. I wanted to thank everybody that's been stamping with me over the years. So I'm going to have some treats for people that come. And it's a little bit less expensive than usual. And you'll notice that too. I'll put the link so you can sign up for a card class to go if you don't live locally. Or if you can make it to my house either Thursday night or Saturday morning. Boy, would I love that. Okay, I'm going to stand up to stamp this. Now this is a little bit, I wish it was a little bit larger, but there you go. Blackberry Bliss, so pretty. Very, very bold statement right there. And what I'm going to do next is I've got the die cut. It's a Blackberry Bliss die cut. Oh, I've got one other thing. And where did I put that? Oh, it's right here. On this card here, you'll see that I have a gold layer around it. What I have to tell you is this is actually part of this die. The white is. And then it has an outside frame. But every time that I tried to take it out of this frame, I actually mutilated the outside frame. So I'm not going to use that. What I did instead was I cut, this is a gold foil. I cut it, let's see, where did I put my ruler? Oh, probably not here. I'm pretty sure it's 3 5/8 by about 1.5. What I did was 1/4 inch larger than the size of the die cut. And I'm going to glue this to here, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. I actually have a corner rounder, and I'm going to just round the edges instead of mutilating and taking it out of this die, okay? Doesn't hurt. It doesn't help to sit in traffic. You get frazzled and you forget everything that you knew you were going to say before. I'm going to let this sit here for just a second, just so that it doesn't slide once I start using my corner rounder. I have an old Stampin' Up! One, or I also have a Creative Memories one that I like to use. I'm going to just insert that here. You can use whatever, or you can actually just trim around it too, if you want to. Just trim around your die cut. That's pretty close, just like that. I've rounded the two edges right there, and I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. And hopefully I still have dimensionals in here as well. If it wasn't so busy, I don't think I would have been so frazzled, and I would have gotten out of work an hour and a half earlier than I actually did. And then I wouldn't have been stuck in traffic, and I would have been on time, and I wouldn't be frazzled right now. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm going to stop talking about it now because, you know, I'm in my happy place when I'm creating with you. Let's do it like this. We're going to just pop it up here down at the bottom, just like that. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of glue right here to the outside petals. And then I think what I'm going to do with some of the other ones, is that going to work? Yeah, I think so. I'm just adding a little bit of glue to some of those petals. And then here on these, I'm going to take a couple of mini glue dots and hope for the best that it's not going to show. Just a couple. It's going to show a little bit. I'm going to have to trim down. Even this mini is going to be too large. So let me trim that down, and I'm going to add that here. And then we're going to pop this up. What I wanted to do is pop up over the bottom, but lay flat. There we go. Kind of lay flat on the label. Just like that. Good enough. So there we go. The only thing missing is my dots. And I had some dots here. These are actually called druzy dots. Now, I don't know what druzy means. I meant to look it up before, but I have no idea. But I'm going to use these gold druzy dots, and we're just going to add a couple of them to the top, just like that. And then maybe one more down here. I'll do another small one down here. Just like that. Isn't that so pretty? If there was an eye, I'd probably try to dot the eye, but beautiful card right there. And it could say anything you want. If you want a birthday card, stamp a birthday greeting. You want a sympathy card? These colors would be perfect for a sympathy card or a thinking of you card too. So I hope you were inspired after seeing this one. Card number 1, just like that. So easy. Okay, card number 2. We're going to see how this is going to go. Oh, card number 2 is my favorite, mostly because it is I love blues. I love, love, love blues. And the only thing I love more than blue cards are sparkly blue cards. And this one has it all. Okay, so look at what we have here. I have, first of all, a Night of Navy card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5. You know, I didn't stamp on the inside. I meant to, but you could stamp anything on the inside as well. I would do something that would match this thank you sentiment. One thing I'm trying to do better, you know, I'm going to at least put in the layer because that's one thing I'm trying to do better is putting my layers and fancying up my insides, because I had some team members and friends come over before my craft fair. They came to put inserts in probably 500 cards, and you know, it's no fun to do it that way, so I'm trying to keep up with it as we go along. I would probably stamp one of these leaves in here in Blackberry Bliss, but I don't have a block here for it, so we'll do that later. But at least you know you're going to put something in the card. What did I do in this one? Oh, I did the stems here, just like that. These are stems that are part of the Regal Winter. I stamped it in Blackberry Bliss and then stamped it off. So there you go. Okay, so back to this card. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a layer of this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful blue paper. I got it all here. This is the paper. Isn't that so pretty? The white just sings to me. It's so, so pretty. And it has Blackberry Bliss on the back. I don't want to have any noise, but I wanted to see if I could actually see anybody making comments, but I don't see any yet. But if you are making a comment, thank you so much for commenting, and I'll have to figure out again before the next one how that works. I'll have to talk to my son again. Okay, 3.5 by 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 is this layer of paper. 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. I put it on a slightly larger piece of basic white, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And that's going to give me a nice edge around this. So I'm going to use my bone folder, burnish my edge. Then I'm going to attach my designer paper to the basic white. So you remember this pattern from the last card we did. This is the muted or mottled or solid, whatever you want to call it, Blackberry Bliss. It's probably not muted. I don't know where I'm getting that word from. Does it look muted? It looks monochromatic, that's for sure. Okay, so here we have our card, and I think we're going to do it this way. It kind of looks like maybe this would have been up and down. Sorry, that's not how I cut it. We're going to do it like this. And I'm going to use the striped iridescent ribbon. If you don't have this, I think it's supposed to come back the beginning of December, and it's just beautiful ribbon. And I love how it ties, and I love how it shimmers and sparkles. And what am I doing? I'm tying this into a nice bow. That's the plan anyway. I'm going to tie it into a nice bow. Let's go like this. I know I can't even explain how I do my bows, but somehow when I finish, they work. Doesn't that look pretty? And obviously that means that you guys could tie a bow too if you practiced it. There we go. And let's, I'm just going to do my edge to the side, and we'll move that down right there, right to the edge. Okay, next I have a Spotlight in Nature die here. And what I meant to do was to bring my Take Your Pick brush tool and say, keep that nearby you, because you're going to want that. But if you, better yet though, if you don't have your Take Your Pick brush tool, which on the other end, so I have one that I keep right by my die cuts. It has the brush on one side and it has this pokey tool, whatever you want to call it, on the other side. So we're just going to have to spend just a second punching these all out. This is probably my only complaint about this die set is all the chads that it leaves behind, and sometimes doesn't even cut out. But I'm not even going to say that very loudly, because you know what? I just love, love, love this die set. And how difficult was that, right? Okay, so I just poked them out. Get rid of my Blackberry Bliss ribbon. And let's get rid of my chads here. Okay, so what we're going to do is stamp, again, just like on this card. I really like this, and I can always use birthday cards, and I think somebody is going to love a sparkly blue birthday card. So we've got our Night of Navy ink, and this stamp is, again, from, let's see, it is from the Textured Floral stamp set. Birthday Blooms for You. Isn't that pretty? So even in winter, we can have our blooms. But you know what? I don't think this is just limited to winter. I really think that this is a great fall card, or for anybody that loves blue. Okay, so we're going to stamp this. Let me shoot for the center. I'm not standing up, so hopefully I did okay. Not bad. Okay, so we're going to put that in here. Let's put our Night of Navy ink away. Oh, did I use something on it? I did a stem on the inside, but again, where are those stamps? Not sure. Not sure. So maybe I will do instead this one from the Regal Winter. I'm going to put that here and I'll stamp that on the inside. Okay. Here we go. Let me get my Night of Navy. This is just for the inside, and then I'm going to show you the rest. I know I should be finishing the card. Okay, so we're going to go like this, and we'll just stamp this. Just like that. Let's attach this. Oh, so you see what I did? I like to put my things in the bottom left corner. And this obviously now is in the top left corner because my card is going this way instead of this way. It could definitely go that way. I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So you know what? This is a good time for a lesson. I love this paper. You know why? It has two sides. So I'm going to flip it over and let me keep it the right orientation this time. And let me stamp this again. And only you are going to know that you stamped the other side once you glue it in. Seriously, nobody else is going to know. That's why there's two sides to a paper, right? Okay, let me attach this to the front, and then I'll attach that inside. Okay, I'm going to put that right there. Oh, now I'm seeing some comments. Oh, thanks, Lori. Hi, Deb. And Steph, I love the dark purple and the navy too, but I love all of this paper. I am telling you, this paper is the best. There we go. Okay, that's the nice thing about the glue too. Once you glue it, you've got a little bit of time to undo it, but if you have it glued down too solidly, I'm going to tell you what you should look for is undo. Now, undo is not the same as Goo Gone. My daughter got me Goo Gone for Christmas, and yep, that gets rid of adhesive, but it gets rid of adhesive that's already stuck there. It doesn't undo your cards. You want undo, and you can get it at Amazon. I should be an affiliate person for that because boy, do I love it. I'm only kidding. I probably only have 2 bottles of it, but if you ever find yourself trying to unstick cards, get a bottle of Undo. It works really, really well. Okay, now I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. And what I have here are some not die cuts. I'm going to tell you, these are not die cuts. You know what I decided? Why in the world would I use die cuts? It's so hard. They're so, you know, it takes time to use a die cutting machine. We have this beautiful bow punch. I honestly feel like it's probably going to retire this year now that I'm promoting it so much. But we've got our white glimmer paper. I think this was in the same package of the glimmer paper as the Old Olive and the Berry Burst. So really pretty white glimmer paper right now. And then I have another, my stem, rather than my berries, is just punched out of Night of Navy cardstock. And you know what? Another thing that I'm missing, because I took it with me to Maine, is my Wink of Stella. But you'll see here, all this shimmer, you've got your white and you've got your Night of Navy. And I guess I only have one white here. Okay, we're going to make do with what we have. I'm going to just stick this Night of Navy here and my basic white here. I'm going to stick the white on top just a little bit so we can see it, just like that. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to take my dimensionals and I'm going to use my dimensionals to help me stick this down. Just like that. One of these days I'll get really sophisticated and I'll know how to do it with the take your pick tool. But sorry guys, you're going to have to watch me in the meantime because I'm going to need a lesson. I'm going to have to watch YouTube to figure out how to do that. Okay, we're just going to stick this down just like this. I'm going to go back with my Wink of Stella and I'm going to wink that because I feel like all the beautiful, beautiful shine, it just needs a little bit more. But isn't that so pretty? So here we have a really simple card. Like I said, this layer, you could do 3x4 if you want to have so many 12 pieces out of one sheet of designer paper. This one happens to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So you're probably only going to get, I believe, 6 pieces out of your paper. But use the other side of it for your Blackberry Bliss card for the other side. So, okay, so that's my second card. Let's go to my third card. I am going to do, I want to save my fancy fold card for last. Wait until you see it. I found this on Pinterest, and we're going to do that last. Okay, this one, okay. Here we have my third card. Isn't that so pretty? Look at these deep colors. So Stephanie, if you like the purple and you like the blue, you're going to love this color too. Doesn't it, you know, doesn't it look so regal? Isn't that a good word for it? It is a good word. Cherry Cobbler is a very, very regal color. So, okay. So I have my basic black card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 again, scored at 4 1/4. Nothing different here. Then I have my Cherry Cobbler piece. This is 4 by 5 1/4, I believe. I'm pretty sure it is. And then originally I had this piece of paper 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. You know what I decided to do? I was looking at this one. It feels to me like the gaps are a little bit too spread apart on this one. So instead of doing it 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, I did 4 3/4 by 3 5/8. And you're going to see what difference that makes. That means I can move these two end pieces in just a little bit more and make it even top, bottom, left, and right. So let's do that. The next thing we have to do is actually cut this designer paper. And I figured out that if you take 1 5/8 from each side, that leaves you a piece in the middle that's 1 1/2 inches, and it looks almost even. So unless somebody is really taking a ruler to it, they're not going to know. Only you're going to know. So let me get my paper cutter here. And we're going to cut this. So you guys all know your measurements probably, but just to review, you have here, so here on your long line are the inch marks. You've got your second largest, that's a half, and then you've got the 1/4 inches. each little line here is a 1/16 of an inch. So 16/16 makes up 1 inch, and every other line is going to be the 1/8 marks. So I have here 3 5/8. So let me just show you. It's just to the, it's the second mark, just, you know, every other, on the other side of 3 1/2. 3 5/8 by 4 3/4 I have. Okay, now we're going to take off of each side, we're going to take off 1 5/8 of an inch. So this side, 1 1/2, that's going to be, that would be the same as 8/16. That's 9/16, 10/16, which is the same as 1 5/8. I'm sorry if you know what I'm talking about, but not everybody does. 1 5/8 here. Then I'm going to flip it, do 1 5/8 on this side, just like that. I'm going to remember that that's how I cut my paper. And then our middle piece is just a little bit narrower at 1 1/2 inches. And we're going to glue this on, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I am going to take this piece, the left piece here. I'll add my glue. This is going to turn out, because I've done the measurements and I know this works, this is how I do it. I am going to do even from top and bottom, and the same distance even from the left. So you can see that that looks pretty consistently about the same amount of space, top and bottom, and then on the left. Next, I'm going to do the same thing on my right. And I'm going to be so humiliated if this doesn't turn out after all that, but I think it will. So right here on the right, we're going to put this one. So top and bottom is even, and the right is also even. This is your trick to make sure that you're going to get it evenly spaced all the way around. And then I'm going to put this here in the middle and look at how consistently now, once I get it glued, you'll see, it's evenly spaced top and bottom and left and right of the center, just like that. And because I've got glue, I can scooch it around until I get it where I want it. Ta-da! Isn't that better? I like that better than this big gap. So that's what we're doing. So it's 4 3/4 long by 3 5/8, and then you're going to take them 1 5/8 off at each end, just like that. I will write that down at some point. Okay, I need my cherry cobbler ribbon. What I wanted to do was just do a loop underneath it, but you know, I'm not very good at loops, so we're going to make a kind of like a messy bow. You know, it's going to be just a loose bow, just like this. Do as I say, not as I do. We're going to just do a loose bow, and I wanted to have some long tails, just like that, because I wanted to show on each side of my label. Oh, and where did I put my label? Speaking of, did I bring my label? Okay, let me show you what I was going to do if I had my label, but it looks like my label is also not here. I'm telling you, batting 1,000. So what I would do here is I would lay this down just like that, maybe even a little bit more of a loop. So it's going to show underneath, just like that. We'd lay that there and we'd stamp this "So Thankful for You." Well, I've got the stamp, but I don't have my label. But what I do want to point out to you, though, is that this particular die is from the Christmas Greetings die set. So, but "So Thankful for You" was from, I found it. Where did I find it? Not something fancy. Oh, So Sincere. So Sincere is another one that has great sentiments. So I can't show you the rest of the card because I don't have a label, but I would take a glue dot and put this down here, put my label on top of it, and then I would add more of those gold druzy dots instead of the silver. Or this is another set of dots that would work. These are the Adhesive Back Sparkle Gems, which also have great sparkle. You could use the black if you wanted to, especially because we have our black card base. I might put these out too for class Thursday and Saturday. So whatever it is, make sure it has lots of sparkle because we love sparkle this time of year. So I'm sorry I can't finish this card. I'll finish it on my own, but essentially this is what it looks like. Or you could, like I said, use these black sparkle gems. So I'm not positive if I love this die because it's bunched up over top, so it looks like it's separating, but it really isn't. It's just an illusion. Okay, so that's card number 3. So easy. You just pay attention to your measurements. Okay, the last card, can't wait to show you. The last card is actually a fancy fold card. It is called a diagonal square latch card, I believe. Look at this. Isn't this so fun? It looks a little plain, but seriously, this is so fun. Oh, I didn't cut my... Oh, boy, I'm having a hard time. I didn't cut my paper. Maybe I have to move this in a second. I'm just going to get more of the designer paper, and we're going to cut it right here, right on camera. So hang on one second. Let me move my chair out of the way. Okay, so this diagonal latch card, we're going to have to cut it right on camera because I don't know where. I have a bag that I think I did a lot of the die cutting and a lot of the piecing ahead of time while I was up in Maine this weekend. I was up in Kennebunk, and guess what? I don't think I found the bag, and I forgot about it because I got home late. Okay, so let me tell you about this card. This card is 5.5 inches by 7 inches. Isn't this so cool? So look at this. This is how it closes. I was worried about this. If I was going to just have it sitting on here, of course this was going to flip up and you weren't going to see the front of the card. Well, this is how it closes. You lift this up, the square, and then tuck this under. So that's how you do that. So fun and so easy. The card base is cherry cobbler. It is 5.5 inches high by 7 inches wide. And then what you're going to do, and I'm going to do it right here on camera because my Christmas clock is singing because I started late, but we're doing okay. Okay, so we are going to score my card base. And again, this card base is cherry cobbler. 7 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. So it's going to end up being just like a normal card when we finish. What we're going to do first is we are going to score this at 1 3/8. Am I right about that? Before I score it, let me think. Yes. Okay, so here's 1.5 inches right there. We're going to score it. This scoreboard does not have 16th inch marks. It has 1/8 inch marks. So we're going to do 1 3/8. So 1, 2, 3 marks past the 1 inch. I just do 1 past the 1.5 inches because I know it. Okay, so we've got 1 3/8, and then on the other side, we're going to do 5 5/8. So that's going to be 1 mark past the 5.5, just like that. And then I can move this out of my way for a second. What we're going to do is burnish these score lines just like this. I figured you'd love the cherry cobbler, Stephanie. I might be a couple minutes behind on my remarks, but I'm trying to keep up because I love that you guys are joining me. Okay, next we have a piece of real red. Now, real red in itself doesn't seem like it would match, right? But in this paper, we have both cherry cobbler and real red. You'll see, and look at this. I mean, those both are real red and cherry cobbler together, and it really kind of goes very well together. So this piece is 2 3/4 by 5.5. Okay, 2 3/4 by 5.5, and this is going to go right in the middle here, and you'll see that in just a second. It's going to go just like that, but we're going to want it to go evenly, so we'll show you that in a second. Then I've got my designer paper, and my designer paper here is going to be 1 3/8 by 5.5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to get my paper cutter, I just found my notes. Thank goodness for that. Okay, let me put this at 5.5 inches. It's going to be 5.5 inches tall, just like that, by 1 3/8. So I know that's 1 1/4. That is 1 3/8 right there. I don't know how to teach measurements any more clearly than that, except to know that's what it is. I use measurements all the time making cards, so I've gotten really used to it. And I hope that works for you guys too. Okay, I think that's the top. Let's say that's the top. And what I'm going to do is glue this right to the middle. So right in the middle, we're going to glue this strip 1 3/8 by 5.5 inches. Make sure it's centered, just like that. As far as I can tell without standing up, that looks centered. Then what I'm going to do, I decided the easiest way to do this was to center this in the center of my card base, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, does that look right? That doesn't look right. I need to look at my card again. So where did I put my card? Ah, here's my card. It's going to go like, okay, there it is. What I'm going to do is just make sure that I have that narrow strip just like that showing. And I'm going to add glue right to this left side. So I want it to be evenly spaced about that far away. Does that make sense? About 1/16 of an inch. Let me move that up a tiny bit so it's even at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is just add adhesive. This might be a good time to use Seal Plus rather than glue, but I'm going to trust myself. We're going to go like that, and we're going to close it just like that. Okay, burnish that edge. There we go. Nice and stuck. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have a square. Now our square, basic black square, is 2 3/4 inches. Let me double check that. Yep, 2 3/4 inches. And our designer paper, and I used the same. I could have done real red if I wanted, but I really love this pattern. So we're going to do the same pattern right here. Does it seem too busy? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Let me attach the square, 2.5 inch square. We're going to attach to our 2 3/4 inch basic black. Just like that. Ta-da! The next thing I'm going to do is I want to attach this to my front. Now, obviously, if I put adhesive behind all 4 corners, first of all, it's going to stick the card down. That's not going to work. I want this to be able to, I must have done something wrong. Why does it seem, because on this one, it's perfectly matched. What did I do wrong? Yeah, I said 1 3/8, right? Okay, so let's see. Yep, that's 1 3/8. And that's 1 3/8. Okay, I'm telling you, do as I say, not as I do. Now, why does it seem that is 1 3/8, but it seems, for some reason, this one looks better. Don't you love it when things don't work out when you're on camera? Okay, and this is 1 3/8. So what in the world did I, nope, that's 1 3/8. Okay, I'm not positive why this doesn't look the same. I cannot figure that out. Seems like I didn't score this right. Okay, let's look at this again. Before I finish making this card, let's do it right so you guys learn it. I have here, I'm just getting my scoreboard. We're not going to finish that card because I want to do it right. Let's see. I have here my card. I think I wanted to do it this way so that I scored it right. Okay, so it's at this cherry cobbler, 7 inches wide. Okay, there we go. So we've scored it at 1 3/8 and 5 5/8. Now, didn't I do that here? 1 3/8, 5 1/2. I didn't do that right. Okay, so there's my mistake. I'm going to score it right there. And that's going to make sense because then this is going to fold over more. But I've already probably, let's see. You know what I'm showing you guys? That even me as a demonstrator can make total fools of myself on camera and be okay with it. And then, okay. And then I would do this. I ruined this one, but what I did, so you see here, I did that so that it's 1 3/8, 5 5/8, and then I attached my center just like that. You saw my little seam right there. What I was trying to tell you with this, okay, you guys tell everybody to watch the bloopers because this is one of them. Okay, I'm going to attach, I'm making sure I'm hanging onto this side of my card because I don't want adhesive. I'm going to put dimensionals here, here, and here, and maybe even there, so that it's going to stick right there, centered on the diamond point. And then this side is going to be able to lift up just like that. Just like that. And what you do is you stick this underneath. I'll figure this out before class on Thursday night and Saturday morning. But seriously, this is a beautiful card and it wasn't hard for me to make it until I got on camera. So what I did with the inside, I stamped some shaded spruce greens. These were from the Regal Winter paper stamp set or Regal see, now I'm totally frazzled. Regal Flora. You've got the flowers and you've got the leaves here. So I might have stamped these from Textured Floral now that I think about it. But anyway, I stamped them in real red once and then the second one I just stamped it off. So, phew, sorry about that. There you go. This was how not to make a card on camera. This is still probably one of my favorite cards. I die cut some berries. I stamped that and die cut that. And then I used some gold gems right here just to add a little bit of something. And this would even be a good one for the druzy dots too. I think the gold would really look nice with the druzy dots here on this one too. So, okay, that was me. That was my cards. Although they looked complicated, they really weren't. I promise they weren't. And where did I put all my cards? We have here this card and this card right there and this one, the blue. And I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed teaching it to you. If you're going to retreat, I am going to have card kits for this one. So sign up for the card class to go. These are cheaper than my normal classes, and you can get these easily and make them at retreat, which is in 3 weeks from this past Saturday. Can you believe it already? And then we're only 2 weeks until Christmas after that. My goodness. Okay, let me flip back so I can say goodbye to you. Thanks for watching. I'll respond to, oh, hi, Rose. That's how not to make a card. You tuned in just in time. Sorry about that. Love you guys. Hope you learned something. First of all, I wanted you to know it doesn't matter. Just be yourself. Be you. Be who you were meant to be. Love you guys. Mwah. See you next Monday.